Welcome back to another episode of the Thumb Strong podcast. I'm joined as always by Coach Bethany.
Hi.
How's it going?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. So this is a big one. This has been something that we've been kind of working on behind the scenes for a little over a month now, at least.
Yeah.
So before we get into like our big announcement and some really exciting stuff that we're going to be able to bring to the table here at Thumb Health and Fitness, we want to talk about a couple of issues that we've been kind of seeing in the industry over the last, obviously I've been a personal trainer for 10 years. Bethany, you've been here, what,
5.
at least 5? Yeah. So we've seen a few different problems. So kind of bucket number one or problem number one is, we've had thousands of people come through the door over the last 10 years, and we've seen some people that are just putting in the work, doing everything right, doing the strength training, doing the daily movement, improving their nutrition. Obviously, many of us could still always do better, but they're still making some changes and trying to do everything that they can and just not quite getting the results that they're looking for. Still hitting some issues with stubborn weight. And this could be due to hormonal shifts, different periods of our lives, insulin resistance. It could be inflammation, just low energy or chronic stress, oxidative stress, a number of different things that can kind of hold us back. But we're seeing good people do the work and just not getting the result. And that was kind of unfortunate. And we just almost feel bad that we can't come up with more things that could help them.
Yeah.
Right. So that's kind of bucket number one. Bethany, what's kind of the other side or bucket number two that we've been seeing?
Yeah. The other side is, recently we've started seeing more and more people taking GLP-1s like Ozempic, Wegovy, and other medications elsewhere. So going to their primary care doctor or some place where they can get more of the medical weight loss help. And what's concerned us with that is they're not doing any strength training. They're just taking the medication. They're not eating enough protein or really focusing on nutrition much at all. There's no muscle preservation plans. So, they might be losing lots of weight, but how much of that is muscle? How much is body fat? There's no accountability with it or guidance of like, hey, what do you do after?
Right.
And no structured coaching with that to be like, hey, this is the habits you need to build to maintain these results long-term after you stop taking medication.
Yeah. And what was scary to me was like, there's a lot of research that's showing that some of these people are losing up to 40% of muscle mass of their weight loss. So if somebody lost 50 pounds, up to 20 pounds of that could be muscle mass, which is just detrimental to your functionality and your strength. And when people, ideally at the end of the day, they want to be lean and toned, right? Mm-hmm. And so if you lose all that muscle mass, you're not going to have that lean toned look. And there's even some phrases that I've been hearing a lot, especially like at the seminar I was at, of clients, getting what they've been calling Ozempic face or Ozempic butt. Get it's not like the tight, lean looking what you want, right?
Yeah.
And then not to mention when you don't have any lifestyle changes like hydration, sleep, nutrition, protein, strength training, you probably feel awful low energy, and that's where you have the side effects with it. Mm-hmm. And so those are kind of the problems that we've been seeing. And to be honest, at first, this is kind of all I was seeing was like the issues that were going on with people that were doing a GLP-1, losing rapid amount of muscle mass and other side effects. And so I was kind of like apprehensive to it at first. So I just looked at it like is this just another like gimmick type of thing? People to just rapidly lose and avoid the lifestyle changes and everything. I wasn't really sure. And so at first it was one of those things that I was not going to recommend at all to people. But then we started to learn more about it. Right. Yeah. So, what we've learned is, and
one thing before you move on.
Go ahead.
Something else that, my initial thoughts on it is, somebody would see their friend, they've been coming to the gym for a while and they've been doing the right things and maybe they've made some results, but they haven't made their long-term weight loss goals. And then they know Jody from the office took, Ozempic or something like that, doesn't eat right, doesn't go to the gym. And, they lost 30 pounds within the first 12 weeks or something like that. Yeah. And so they're like, it took me, like, maybe they didn't even lose 30 pounds yet.
Right.
Yes, they feel better. Yes, they're stronger, like all these things. But it's like the reason that people initially start the gym, it's like 90% of the time it's to lose weight. People want to lose weight. They want to fit in smaller clothes. And so they're seeing these other people take that. And so it's like viewing it very polar opposites of like either going the lifestyle route or it's this like quick fix type of thing.
Yeah.
Instead of how it really should be.
Right.
But yeah, that was my initial thoughts were, okay, if people have been doing the right things for a long time and it's just not enough, to overcome genetics or lifestyle outside of what they can change. Some people can't control how much they're going to sleep, or they can't control different physiological responses that their body has to, training and exercise. Like everybody is genetically different. They're going to respond differently. And so, at that point, I didn't really have a problem with people taking the GLP-1s and stuff as long as they did the necessary precursors to it.
Yep. Same.
Yeah. So that was my initially, if you're just taking it to take it.
Yeah.
Okay,
and then the other thing on those two issues, most of the time, we have clients in here that have been working out regularly and they've been eating a little bit better and their health markers are fantastic. Like they have less stress, they've got great energy, they feel good, they're strong, but they still have that 30 pounds that they're carrying that they just want to get off, right?
Yeah.
And then they have their coworker, Susie, who does the GLP and loses that 30 pounds like that. But the thing is there's a good chance that she is tired still and weak still and maybe doesn't have the energy she wants, and her health maybe not substantially better because she's not changing anything lifestyle.
Right.
So you kind of have like these pros and cons right on both. And that's where we were really seeing an issue in the industry. So what is GLP-1s, what do they actually do? So as we've learned more about this, and I'm really good friends with a gym owner in Texas who is a physician and has been combining GLP-1s with their programs and seeing really, really great results. So that was awesome to see. But really what it does is it impacts our hunger signaling. So it will help kind of curb the appetite. A lot of people I've been talking to have noticed that they just don't crave junk food that they usually do. Even alcohol, they weren't craving or wanting like a drink of alcohol, which is big for some people. It slows gastric emptying. It'll improve your blood sugar control, support insulin sensitivity, can reduce that food noise, like I was saying, with like the cravings. It can just help with people with real metabolic dysfunction. So it isn't just like an appetite suppressant. It's for people that are really dealing with that insulin resistance, hormonal changes, perimenopause and menopause, postmenopause, metabolic slowdowns, chronic stress, oxidative stress. I think a lot of people can relate to that. So at the end of the day, like Bethany said, it does come down to some physiology. There are some things that we just cannot do or solve with just lifestyle alone. You maybe could, but it would just take substantially more work.
Yeah.
Right. So there's just some people that have to work 10 times, 15 times harder than another person. And, how much can you really do?
Right. And it's like when somebody has, they have a job on their plate, they have kids, they have, a household and everything. They have all these other things to focus on. Like they can't put all of their time and energy and effort into this one thing.
Right.
Like some people can, because, maybe they're a professional bodybuilder or something, or an athlete, and maybe they can do that. But for a lot of people, it's like, it's either going to take a long, long time, or it's going to take a lot more than what it would take, somebody else with just a little bit better genetic predispositions.
Right. Yeah. And, talking to Kai from Texas about his programs that he was taking people through, what was really reassuring to me was, he said that out of everybody that they had taken through, and they've taken dozens of people through their 12-week transformation with medical weight loss, and like the highest amount of muscle mass loss was like 1% to 2% instead of up to 40%. A lot of people didn't lose any muscle. In fact, some gained muscle as they were dropping. So that was very, very cool. When you have, here's the key thing, structured strength training, protein targets and nutrition guidance. So you got to have the right nutrition protocol, the weekly accountability, and the body composition, like the tracking, when you actually track it and you can make adjustments as you go. That's another thing I'll say with some people that are doing GLP-1s or whatever. If they just go through their doctor, get it online, 9 times out of 10, there's zero support to go with it. You know, they're not checking in and seeing, hey, how are you doing with everything else? You know, what kind of side effects are you dealing with, et cetera. You just get prescribed and then you don't talk to them again until you go back to get the next prescription. So there's no coaching and support and accountability with it. There's no interaction and feedback. So that was where we saw kind of a big opportunity or big, kind of gap in the industry. So now we can talk about the really exciting part. So we can talk about, we are bridging the gap between medicine and fitness for the first time. So we realized that for decades, there's always been a separation. It's almost like two separate worlds, right? So doctors, they diagnose, they prescribe, they manage medical conditions, whereas coaches and gym owners, personal trainers, we coach, train, build habits, and we try to help people, achieve their goals the natural way, right? Just the lifestyle way. But rarely, if at all, do we ever intentionally work together simultaneously, right? So people are kind of like forced to choose, kind of like the example we gave earlier. Like you've got one person, Josie, who's going to work out 4 days a week and eat better and drink water and sleep and do the lifestyle. And then you have her coworker, Susie, who's just going to, boom, take the medication and try to lose the weight that way, right? So it's always been these two different buckets. And so that's where we're excited that for the first time ever that I know of, there's really becoming more of a collaboration between medicine and fitness. And so we are excited to announce that we actually partnered with an organization called AsherMed. And what's really cool about AsherMed is the co-founders or the founders of it are gym owners. They were personal trainers. They've been in our shoes. They started out as, doing boot camps in the park and then getting a brick and mortar facility and training clients. But they saw this gap in the industry. And so they started AsherMed, which actually uses licensed physicians to go through an intake with somebody and prescribe the right medication for them. And then the partnership is where we can actually do the coaching. So we handle what we do best. We coach the client on the nutrition, the strength training, the habits outside of the gym. And then Asher handles the medication. And what's cool about that is you're getting the best of both worlds, right? You're getting the medical, but you're also getting the fitness and the support and the accountability. And then you also get with Asher is you get patient care support, which I think is awesome. So like I mentioned earlier, when you get something offline or if you get a prescription from your doctor, it's not like you can text your doctor. Like, when's the last time you just like, oh, I'm going to text my doctor real quick. I got to go see him. You got to like book an appointment, wait 2 hours in the lobby, and then you can see him for 5 minutes. So with Asher, you actually get a patient care team that pretty much has 7 days availability. So you could text them with like anything you need. If you have side effects, your questions about your injections, anything like that. And you can get responses within 24 hours. So I think that's super, super cool. So we're really working hand in hand together for the first time.
Right. And your prescriptions aren't coming from who knows where with who knows what in it. It's state licensed 503A compounding pharmacies. So it's, they prepare the medications based on every individual. Like it's all handled through the physicians, the licensed physicians. So, I mean, they determine eligibility. They make sure, okay, this is the specific thing you need to be doing, safety, all that kind of stuff. So it's not just like, hey, here, you can buy this random thing from online, which some people can do, but it's not guaranteed what's in it. Is it safe? Like, how do you actually use it? And so it's a really guided process from start to finish.
Yeah. And it's super simple. We had I won't mention who, but we had a beta test client, and so basically how it works is there's like an intake. So you just answer some questions. And based on that, we can kind of make suggestions for what medications might be the best fit for somebody.
Yes.
And then all we do is we have a link where we select the medication. You've put in your information, that intake and everything gets submitted to the physician. The physician reviews it and will either approve or deny. And then if it does get approved, we get a notification, we approve it, it gets shipped right to your door. And then you do get video and maybe a call with the physician to go over like how to actually administer everything. You'll get instructions on how to use a medication, where to store it, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So they completely handle the medication side. We handle the coaching, the strength training, the nutrition side.
Yeah. We're basically just like, hey, this is you would be a good candidate for this. Like we're not actually prescribing anything.
Right.
It's just like,
yep,
looks like this could be good for you. It's like,
yep.
We'll put it into the doctors, and then the doctors will say whether this is, yes, you can, like, approved, yes, they're the ones doing the prescribing. I think it's usually they do a video call.
Yeah.
Beforehand.
Yep. And they have videos too to
correct.
send you as well. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And if anybody is curious to like, okay, who is this doctor and stuff? So the CMO is Dr. Crystal Burchard. So she's actually an expert. She's a physician, but she's an expert in weight loss and hormones and metabolic dysfunction, kind of all of the above. So she has a team of nurse practitioners under her. So her and her team are the ones that are doing the intake and prescribing the medication. So it's in-house. It's not like they're just throwing it to any physician in your local area. It's all coming from her team of 7 people. So it's very controlled, like we said, state licensed physicians with state licensed 503A pharmacies. So you're getting very high quality, you're getting an individualized medication, which is really important to us. We want to make sure that our clients are getting quality service, quality medications. So essentially we handle coaching, they handle the medicine. We work in collaboration with each other. We can reach out and talk to the physicians as well. So I think it's just a very, very cool partnership. Anything else on that part of it, the Asher part of it?
I mean, a big part of it is we just know that people are going to be using this, and so it's better if they have the guidance with it. Like, we know that people are curious about using GLP-1s or other peptides, because obviously our partnership doesn't just have to do with that. There's other peptides that will help as well.
Yep.
When it comes to like energy and just longevity and things like that, but it's knowing that people are going to go out and use them anyways, and so it's best to do it with the best guidance possible. Basically those 2 problems is like why we decided to do this, because it was a very big decision, and at first, if you first asked me, I might have said no, but after learning so much more, and then the statistics don't lie, we're up to like 1 in 5 Americans that are taking a GLP-1 at this point. And so if somebody's gonna do it, I would rather be the guy that's helping them to make sure that they actually get sustainable results that last and they're staying healthy, avoiding as many of those side effects as possible, avoiding the muscle loss, not to mention you lose bone density. So if there's somebody in their 50s or 60s that are doing this, you got to be really cautious that you don't lose too much weight too quickly, especially that muscle mass, because you're going to lose some bone density with it. So if we can help, bring together a complete program to help those people that are going to do it regardless get better results, I'm all for it. But then there's also our current clients that need that additional support and help. Maybe they've been putting in so much work and we've just tried everything and they're not quite getting the result they want. This could be that extra tool. And it is a tool. It's not a replacement. It's not going to, replace your healthy habits or lifestyle. It's just meant to be used in conjunction with to facilitate better results. Right. So that's why we chose to do it. Right. And so now you might be wondering like, okay, who is this for?
busy moms and dads doing everything right, but they're just still stuck. Maybe like dealing with a lot of chronic stress, oxidative stress, not sleeping well enough at night, those kinds of things. Men and women that are navigating hormonal changes. So like we mentioned earlier, like that peri and postmenopausal, people struggling with metabolic resistance, people stuck in those long-term plateaus, or maybe you've just yo-yoed year after year after year and you just can't seem to get anything to stick. And then there's those that are serious about healthy aging and preserving muscle. So not only can we, through Asher, utilize GLP-1s, but we can also utilize other peptides as well. So there's actually 10 different peptides that we can put together as far as a program goes. So for example, things like NAD, glutathione, BPC 157, so things that can help with like injury repair, things that can help support, energy, healthy aging, cellular regeneration, that kind of stuff. So there's actually some peptides that can be very helpful for other stuff other than just the weight loss side. Sermorelin can help with building lean muscle. So for those people that maybe they don't necessarily want to lose body mass or body weight, but they want to gain muscle and bone density and stuff like that, you could take something like a sermorelin to help support that. We have to be really careful with what we say. Nothing's a magic medication or anything, but it can support those natural functions to help you get
individual results.
Yes, individual results for sure. Just like with the training and nutrition, it depends on the person, physiology and your genetic and stuff. So it will depend, but for the most part, a lot of these can help with supporting your goal, right? Who this is not for, this is just as important. So this is not going to be a shortcut. It's not a replacement for your habits. It's not a quick fix. It's not for somebody that's unwilling to strength train, to improve their lifestyle habits like nutrition and things outside of the gym. It's not for those that are looking to avoid doing the work. So in other words, if you are interested in this and you come in and chat with us, you cannot do a medical program without doing the additional habits with it. So we are creating this to be a medical wellness program where you're getting your medication, so GLP-1 or a peptide, plus strength training and nutrition and accountability. You have to incorporate all of them in order to do this with us. If you're looking for that quick fix shortcut, you're going to have to go somewhere else, basically. Or we'll try to convince you that you need to do the lifestyle. That's probably what we'll do. But they really have to go hand in hand. There's too much research that's showing the downfalls of just doing it by itself. So you really want to do them both. Like we said, this will enhance the work. It's not replacing the work. So we're just trying to kind of bridge that gap between the medicine and the fitness. Some common questions that people might have, right? So like, is this safe? Every client completes a secure medical intake. The independent physician will review everything, and then nothing is prescribed without that approval, that doctor approval. So it's as safe as it could be, as if you were going to your primary care doctor, right? Is it the same as Ozempic and Mounjaro? So it is the same classification of a GLP-1. Semaglutide or tirzepatide are the two that we can offer, which are the same GLP-1s that are, like your Ozempic, your Zepbound, your Wegovy, and your...
Yeah, tirzepatide is technically a dual agonist.
Yes.
It's GIP and then GLP-1.
Yep. So I believe it's Wegovy and Zepbound are the dual agonists, so the tirzepatide, and then the Ozempic and Mounjaro, I think, are the semaglutide. I could be totally wrong on that, but I know there are at least two very popular dual agonists, tirzepatides, and then there's two Ozempic. Everybody knows Ozempic, the semaglutides. The tirzepatide is basically, since it's a dual agonist, it's going to be a little bit more effective in its role of improving the insulin sensitive, or improving the hunger and the satiety, the metabolism, right? So it's just going to be a little bit more effective, but obviously it's going to depend on the person too.
Right.
Will you lose muscle mass? So not if you combine it with the right strength training regimen, adequate amount of protein, and then the right coaching and lifestyle factors like sleep and recovery. At the very least, will mitigate it. So maybe you lose a little bit, but hey, if it's 1, 2, or 3% instead of 30 or 40%, that's a huge win.
Yeah,
right?
Because realistically, if you're losing 50 pounds, your body will most likely lose some lean body mass because you're just not carrying as much weight on your body. So your body does like stomach to go, but it's not to the extreme extent of if you're just losing a bunch of weight rapidly without any strength training or protein. So like instead of that 30, 40%, like you said, like, I mean, even technically 10% would be considered normal.
Right.
To see that. But that's not going to be to the point where you're like, where you have the Ozempic face or anything like that.
Yeah. Yep. So we'll mitigate it and try to maintain as much as possible. Correct. Right. So basically, this isn't about like adding medication to our gym. It's really trying to modernize and how we support people. So it's not going to be just relying on medicine alone and coaching alone, but actually both of them for the first time ever working together to create stronger systems, better collaboration, smarter support, from a medical standpoint and from our coaching standpoint. So I'm really excited about the future of where this is going with fitness. I love that organizations like AsherMed are bringing in little guys to actually help deliver the coaching and support nutrition. And then they handle the medicine instead of, they could just, there's definitely some organizations that could just do everything themselves and be in it for the most amount of profits, right? But they're actually incorporating and looping in, giving all of us the opportunity to partner. And Asher's not the only one. There are a number of other ones out there. So it's very cool to see this shift in the industry.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about it. I know, you probably are too.
Yeah,
so
it's really cool.
If you're interested in learning more about the GLP-1s or peptides or what our medical wellness programs consist of, all you got to do is reach out to us. You can message on Facebook, you can text us, you can stop into the gym. I will include a form in the recording and in the comments of this live video, and you can just click the form. All it is name, phone, or email. And we know that it's for the medical wellness program, so we can reach out and set up a time to sit down in this room and chat about what your goals are, what you've tried, and we'll see if medical wellness is a route that we can go, and if you are a good fit, which one's going to be the best. And then all we got to do is fill out the intake. It takes about 10 minutes, and then you should hear back within a day from the physician if you're approved or not, and then we can get you rocking and rolling on your program. So very, very exciting. Feel free to give us your feedback and ask any questions that you have. But at the end of the day, I'm really excited about this chapter and really being able to change lives for the better in our community. So awesome. Until next time, stay healthy, and we'll talk to you guys soon.